Hello, everyone. This is Geo, and this is,
Marlene.
and together we are the Information Girls. No rumors.
Just the facts.
All right, now. Today we want to talk about 5 ways to protect your personal space. So I'm just going to jump right into it, Marlene. Okay. All right. One way is to identify and accept your personal boundaries, your boundary needs. If you don't protect your personal space, you are more likely to feel drained. You may often feel hurt and angry for what seems like minor infractions to others. But in order to protect your personal space, you have to accept that it's all right to have it. All right. We all have different responses to the space around us based on a number of different factors. If you're not bad for needing more space than someone else, nor are you wrong if you need less space. But in either case, it's important for you to acknowledge your own needs when you interact with others. And it says, try to let them know what you need and why. Okay, so it's just saying that you have to have your own personal boundaries. Like for one thing, I don't like people just getting right up in my face or too close to me. I can't handle that because I'm already anxious.
Right.
And I'd be like, I'll step back. And most of the time when people are too close or in your personal space, if you step back, then they'll step back. Have you ever noticed that?
Right. Because I think sometimes maybe people have different, I don't know, kind of background, cultural backgrounds that some people, like in my culture, like people will like try to become right and put their arm around you and be like, if you don't feel really close to somebody, it can make you feel kind of uncomfortable.
Right.
So that's why it's important to also always ask somebody before you say, you mind if I come closer to you to say something to you?
Or do you mind if I give you a hug?
Yeah.
I say that all the time, especially when I'm first meeting people, and you may introduce me to somebody, and I just might like them right off. And you might hear me say, Marlene, do you mind if I give you a hug? You're such a great person, or whatever I'm going to say at that time. If they say no, then that's when you should give. That's how I do it. I can't tell you what to do,
Mhm. Right.
but that's what I do, especially when I meet somebody new. Okay, is there anything else, Marlene, on that?
Yeah, and you have to understand everybody, and also another thing is like when you meet somebody, not everybody wants to do handshakes, especially now how the atmosphere has changed now with the pandemic. You have to give people a little more space because maybe before some people would feel comfortable, but now they don't feel comfortable shaking hands or hugging or any of those things because of the
Right.
situation right now.
Somebody cough, I'm like,
No.
I'm like, "Ooh, do I got my mask on?" I mean, because it's just the way it is. But I'm thinking that they're gonna get a handle on this, and we can all go back to just being the way we were. That's what I'm praying and hoping for. All right, let's move on to number two. Number two says, and we're talking about 5 ways to protect your personal space. Okay. And number two is be polite but firm. I know this sounds like a contradiction in terms, but it is possible. Sometimes we fail to protect our space because we don't want to seem rude, impolite, or unfriendly. But many boundary violations can be avoided if we set limits early on. And yes, you can do it without being rude. Here are some ideas. Head off advances with your body language. That's the first thing I do. I step back. If you're too close to me, it's not that I don't like you or you smell or what have you. It's because you're too close to me and I need to move back. So that is another way that you can protect your boundaries is just stepping back. Okay. Let's see, what else did they say? They have a little story here. It says, my mother, a real Southern lady, used to hold out her left hand, to anyone who began to move in for a kiss or a hug.
Okay.
She just used to put out her hand to just say, "Nah, I don't want no kiss and hug. Just shake my hand."
Mhm.
Okay, it's less formal and more ladylike than a handshake. She explained when I asked about it. Even if you don't care about being ladylike, by holding out your left hand, you give the person some skin contact without seeming overly informal. And at the same time, you protect yourself from unwanted hugs and kisses. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So they do give you some ways that you can be firm, okay? Be polite but firm, okay? Number 3, start with something small to protect your space. If you have trouble saying no, whether it's because you don't want to seem rude or to hurt someone's feelings, or because you feel guilty or you're worried that the other person will get mad at you, part of the problem is most likely that you haven't learned to set a limit and stick with it. As with most other things in life, small steps will get you to your goal. To start, wait, try to start saying no in a small minor situation, but wait. This doesn't mean randomly saying no to anything. Choose something that doesn't feel particularly important and someone who you feel relatively safe with. So you can kind of practice on saying no. Like, I feel really okay with saying no to Marlene because we've been saying that to each other
Yeah. I'm like, nope, nope, that's not gonna work. Nope.
since we met each other. But we understand about personal boundaries. We understand, or what have you. Because when we first met, because me and Marlene met before in 2019, I don't
Mhm.
think that we had too much issues with personal boundaries, did we?
Mhm. None, because we've always been respectful of each other.
Right, right, right. So if there is something that, and I'm just going to use Marlene as an example, not that she done anything, okay?
Mhm.
But if Marlene does invade my personal space or says something that invade my personal space or asks me to do something that invades my personal space, I can say, Marlene, I don't really want to do that. And this is the reason why. And to me, that's being polite but firm.
Right.
Okay. Do you have an example, Marlene?
Yeah, I would say something like, if it's something that maybe something from your past life, for you could say something like, that doing that would make me feel uncomfortable because of my childhood.
Right. And then the other person is, and you're not being mean to them or anything. And then they'll say, really, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. And they'll change it up to whatever it is that you need, because we all come from different walks of life. And we've all learned personal space and boundaries different ways. So you have to respect one another's personal space and what that person's boundaries may be. It's not about you. Half the time it's all about what happened to them. And they just don't want that in their that to other people's stuff, or things that you may do that you may think is okay to do. Well, it's not okay with me.
Right.
But you can be polite and firm and let people know, nah, that
Right.
ain't it, buddy.
Yeah. Okay.
No. But be polite about it. I really wish you wouldn't do that because that just reminds me of my childhood, girl, and my childhood wasn't that bad. I mean, wasn't that good. And most people would just, oh, I'm so sorry. They may not even ask you what happened or
Mhm.
nothing. But if you
Right.
don't say something, they're going to invade your personal space, and then you ain't gonna want to have nothing else to do with them, and then they're gonna
Mhm.
not understand why. What did I do? I heard from her last week. We met. I ain't seen her since.
Yeah.
And that's not their fault. It's yours because you was not firm with
Right.
telling people what your personal space is. I could
Right.
talk about that all day. Let me move on. Okay, let's see. All right, now. Number 4 is know what you mean when you say yes. Practice telling other people what you want, whether it's to watch a certain program or television or to eat. Wait a minute. Cut. Practice telling other people what you want, whether it's to watch a certain program on television or to eat at a certain restaurant. That makes it easier to say no when you don't want to do something.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Number 4, know what you mean when you say yes. Practice telling other people what you want, whether it is to watch a certain program on television or to eat at a certain restaurant. Now, I'm really good at that because I don't want to eat at that restaurant. Girl, no,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I would say, no, that restaurant gives me the bubble guts.
and then you still remember to be polite and firm about it. Like, girl, now I can't eat there because it just makes my stomach upset. I done tried 3 times. Can we pick somewhere else? And then maybe they may say, "Well, you pick the place. Didn't you get to pick where you want to
Right.
go?" All right, all right. Number 5, and this is the last one. Stop feeling guilty. Many of
Mhm.
us struggle with boundary violations because we are afraid we will be seen as unkind or selfish if we don't give someone else what they want. But try to remember that you have as much of a right to have things the way you want as they do to have them their way. And if that doesn't work, then think about it this way: if you don't let someone intrude on your boundaries, you're saving them from feeling badly later.
Right.
True, because you have to stop feeling guilty. Well, if I say this, they might do this, and they may not be my friend. Or what if they're your friend? They will understand what your boundaries are.
Mm-hmm.
They will understand when you say no. I
Yeah.
don't want to do that, and this is the reason why, Marlene.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. Or you could tell, so like, even when you talk about times, because you and I are in different time zones, and sometimes I forget you're an hour behind me, and I'll be like, "Let's do it at 9 o'clock." You'd be like, "Girl, that's 8 in the morning." I'll be like, "Oh yeah."
Right. We do that a lot, because she forget or either I might forget, and then I get the times mixed up. But I'm always saying, Marlene, I'm so sorry, even though I know Marlene knows that I don't do things intentionally, but I still respect her as my friend. And I will always say, Marlene, I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm truly sorry. Can we do such and such and such? And to let her know that I'm just not doing it just because I can do it. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, so that is 5 ways to protect your personal space. And I just want to just go over them one more time just to let everybody know what we talked about. 5 ways to protect your personal space. Number 1, identify and accept your personal boundary needs. Number 2, be polite but firm. Number 3, start with something small.
Right.
Number 4, know what you mean when you say yes. And number 5, stop feeling guilty. So that is the topic for today, guys. I hope you guys got a lot out of it because I did. I am Chio of the Information Girls, and this is
Marlene of the Information Girls.
No Rumors.
Just the facts.
See you guys later. Bye bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Information girls, we got the goals, we got strategies where dreams come true. Let's rock this chat, don't need no flag, got a lot of things to keep intact. So pack that channel and show some loving. Don't you give up now. Go the distance with the information girls. Information girls. We got the pills, we got strategies where dreams come true. Let's rock this chat. Don't need no flag. Got a lot of things to keep